Hey everyone, welcome back to Kevin Reviews. I just finished watching The Conjuring 2. Again, I don't have the DVD case with the picture on it, so this is all I can show you. But I usually leave a poster up of the film that I saw. So this is directed by James Wan. He returns for the sequel, and he also wrote this along with Chad and Carrie Hayes. Returning to The Conjuring to the sequel is Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga, who as Ed and Lorraine Warren, and we have new cast members, which include Madison Wolfe, Francis O'Connor, and Bob Adrian. So, um, because of the success of the first Conjuring, there was everyone was like waiting for the sequel to happen, and the sequel did not disappoint, and in fact, it may have exceeded expectations, or it met the same expectations as the original film. And thankfully, it was like in the right direction because after the disaster, no, well, maybe not disaster, but the disappointment of the Annabelle movie, it was like, okay, well, now we're back in the right direction. And the trailer was very interesting. I think you noticed in my intro and the thumbnail, the design of having there was like in the trailer the crosses were upside down. That led to eventually a jump scare. That was pretty iconic. So that's why I made it that way. Um, but yeah, I did not see the Conjure this the con most the majority of the Conjuring films in theaters, so I eventually saw them when at home. I've already seen this like maybe once or twice, so I'm already familiar with the scares that are coming. They're coming up in the film, but I'm not gonna that's not gonna affect my review, my overall rating for the film. Um, you know, it's just like I gotta think, are these good scares? Are they creative scares or something like that? So again, I will be generous, and look at from kind of different point of view, best I can. But just saying that out there because you know, like I said, it's often best to see something like this or any horror film for that matter in theaters than it is seeing it at home where you have more control with your environment versus in the theaters. So just and because especially if it's a first time watch, it's often more effective. So, but yeah, let's start with the review. So we have the Ed and Lorraine Warren again, played by Patrick Wilson and and Vera Farmiga. I'm sorry, Ed, Ed and Lorraine Warren, played by Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga, who um, who take this case in Enfield, England. This time, it takes them all to England all the way to England for the Hodgins family that are plagued with supernatural happenings involving a spirit of an old man. That's as far as I'll go to explain it. But there's also another thing going on, and I think most people know about it already, is this new figure called that's just referred to as the nun. And it does have a name, but just so for spoiler reasons, I will not talk about it in case you haven't seen it. I would also recommend that if you want to see The Conjuring 2 but have not seen the first Conjuring, I say watch the first Conjuring first before seeing the sequel because they're connected. So, um, so to be frank, in my to sum up, really, I think this is very good. It is just as good, maybe even better than the original one. Um, Not only do you have a different location, granted, it does feel similar. It's similar to the original, but I mean, we got a new location, a new case that's very different from the original, other than supernatural happenings. But there again, it's kind of the case has a story behind it. Like, why is these you know entities of, attacking this family. There's like a story and a mystery behind it, and even this one has a lot more going on involving, in terms of story. It just, it's kind of vague, and it does play, subvert expectations a bit. The scares are good, and some of the camera work, the transitions, like transitions, like, from one angle to the room to like a different day or time passing, showing time pass during the day, is good. I really enjoy it. The effects are good. Um, but yeah, there's a lot to like about it. But I will say the one thing, that makes this different from the original is now the Conjuring 2 focuses more on Ed and Lorraine Warren's, um, about, they're being scrutinized for these supposedly fake cases, like there's no such thing as ghosts, demons, all that stuff. So, um, because there's like one moment where they're doing a television show and somebody tells them off that what they're doing is not believable, and in the new case that they're taking on, they're wondering the same thing because they're told to just go to observe and see what happens, see if it's a hoax or not, because that's the thing. They want to make sure that it's that something demonic or spiritual activities going on, that the church can do something about it. So, and from what I heard in the real life case, this particular one is still debated as whether or not it's a hoax. Um, so it's interesting to look in that on that side, them being questioned for something that they've had like experience in years and years, and I won't blame them, because even for me, I'm not sure if I believe, um, exactly, but it's we always want to find explanation to, satisfy our, to satisfy, keep our minds at ease, and whatnot. But sometimes there are some stuff that can't be explained. But like I said, I will say I'm not religious. I'm more agnostic. Just kind of looking at both sides of the coin here. I'm probably getting off topic. I don't know, but in any case, but that's what's interesting, is looking at you know the case involving whether or not it's a hoax, and that's interesting. We also have a bit more time learning more about Ed and Lorraine as characters. There is great moments where they're interacting more with the family, with the entire family, um, and they have good moments that aren't really told, but they're shared like an expression, like visually. They're shown, like how Ed and Lorraine met in a way. I mean, not quite, but it's told or shown or whatever. But it's really well done. I like how they interact with the family. Um, I like the look of the demons, or the what we got for our spirits. They are creepy looking. There is a creepy atmosphere. The house itself and the way it's shot, it does feel a lot more claustrophobic, because it's a pretty run down house that's with a basement that's leaking like lots of water. But it does feel very claustrophobic. There's like not a ton of room, and it does play with that. Kind of makes you feel like this this the walls are closing in. The entities are much closer than they seem to be. Um, Granted, the original may have done that too, but I think because the way this house looks in general, I think that's more. It seems more effective. It's like more claustrophobic. There's, overall. It probably won't affect anybody who has claustrophobic feelings, but just kind of I that's what I kind of got from this. If there's something I didn't like, maybe it's not something I didn't like. It's more like it's a nitpick. I think it could have been cut a little bit shorter because it does feel like it drags a bit at times. Um, like it does take a while for the Warrens to take the case in the first place because we have some setup with this, with the nun involved that's in the movie, and the nun is the creepiest looking thing in the film, um, overall. Um, and there's great scares from this particular the nun, and um, but I don't know. I think there could have been some stuff cut because so maybe we get the Warrens to go to the England, Enfield, England, but then I understand that they want to focus more on like the Warrens, their relationship, characters, and interaction with the family, and just how they're being treated as kooks. You know, this their cases are all load of hogwash or whatever because they don't believe it. So there's a lot to like about this. I can't really, but otherwise, I don't have many complaints. I do really highly recommend this. I think overall, I'm going to give this the rating the same as the original, 5 stars. I mean, that's how high I'll go. I may even give it 5.5, but I think I do prefer the original a little bit more because at least, it doesn't feel too long. This one does feel like it drags on a little bit longer. Um, but it's very close. I would say 5 stars. Go see it. If you're not a fan of horror, not for you. But I do say watch the original first before you see the sequel. But in any case, what are your thoughts on the Conjuring 2? Leave a comment below. Tell me your thoughts. If you like it, dislike it. What do you think of the review? Give a like or dislike if you want. Um, Feel free to subscribe to my channel. And I think that's it. And I will see you guys in the next review. And I'm going to go to bed. Bye.